I am not seeing any sound, around, or thumbs. Maybe can you hear me? Hello, Spirit, this is too well. Still looking.
The volume's very low.
Okay, try again. Anybody about 4.
My internet port over there. Which part? The port right there. And mute this guy.
Okay, we're still.
Okay, we'll try again. How does it sound now? Okay, I got the face of the show. Okay, so we are ready to go. It's 6:39. And we're going to begin. Is the record? I'm just waiting for the recording. Okay, the recording started. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to CB2's February meeting. I'm Susan Kent, chair of CB2. We are going to start with a roll call vote for roll call attendance. Awesome. Okay, Susan Aaron. William Bush.
Here.
Gina Brother.
Here.
Carter Hub. Okay, we'll come back.
Here.
Kelly Bernaro.
I think you called my name, Emma. I think you called my name.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I got Katie. Thank you, folks.
This is very different.
CB2 tree
I
tree.
know what you're saying.
Present.
I've been as CB2 online, but I don't.
Can
One sec, we're gonna release to see what Katie's doing.
can you guys hear me? Can you hear us?
What if I was still struggling with audio?
Can you guys hear us?
How about we start with roll call for people in the room?
Just go through the whole thing, and then what do you think actually? I can see that says I can see folks. Yeah. Okay, you two I said just joined. So.
Right here.
Okay. President Harris. Which one? Thank you. Fitzgerald. All right, Sarah Fitzgerald is absent with notification. Cormac Zone. Okay, Susan Brown. Thank you. David Gerber. Thank you. Charlotte Dredd. Zachary Gonzalez. Susan Dredd.
Present.
Robert Kessler's absent with notification. John Kelly.
Here.
Ivy Corners. Nancy Petty. Patricia Lara is present. Janet Left. Andrew Barkley. Ed Lam. I also see a present remote. Matthew Metzger. Erica Wilson. Here. Okay, let's see.
I'm on here. Donna's on here. I'm just about over to the place.
Thanks, Donna. See you in a second.
President Mars. Oh, well, we just thought it was great.
I'm gonna go over the books again, I think. Thank you. Yeah, keep tabs. Thanks, Lois. Bill Cabetta's absent notification. Lucy Sands is absent notification. Shirley Sakunda, a self present moment.
Mark, can you guys hear us?
No. No.
Thank you. Frederica Siegel.
Here.
Anna Smith, present. Dr. Shirley Smith, I saw online. Come back.
Can you call slowly, please? You are too fast.
Can you hear me? Is it echoing? Okay. I'm not sure what to do about that. Susan let me know that it was present. Antoine. I have not seen him. Eugene was also present online. We have. So just go through the folks in line if you have a moment, just so I can make sure I've got them. Thank you.
哦，别打是这样。你一看就是睡觉。乱掉了。放了耳朵边听啊。
Okay. Right now.
Can you tell Mark that you
Sorry.
can't hear those on Zoom?
And afterwards, if I didn't accommodate, we have annotated. Thank you.
Or how are we doing at home now?
Terrible.
It's
Thank you,
better
Mark.
now. Can you speak a little bit?
Okay, we don't have them in the room.
That came
Why should
through
we ever
clear.
have a smooth meeting?
Oh my God, why don't we have a tech person?
他们一要睡着了。
讲的不清楚。Can you speak loud, clear, please?
Yeah, we have a new video in the. We can listen.
They can hear us. You're not.
Maybe the next public session, we do have a quorum.
Is that it's doing this? I thought my sound was muted.
Okay. I'm gonna turn this over for public, we'll start public session. I'm gonna turn it over to our first vice chair, Valerie De La Rosa.
Excuse me,
Thank
this
you
is
so much,
Edma.
Susan, and hello to
Hello,
everyone on
this-
Zoom. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to
this is
start out
Edma.
with Rose Rackoff.
Hello, this is
Do you have a
Edma.
microphone?
Yes. Can you hear me? Good. I'm speaking to you as community director of the Edgewood Capital Group.
没有啊。Hello, you haven't called Edma.
I'm speaking to you as the Edgar Allan Poe Director at NYU. And I'm asking anybody here in the room, or if you have any friends or relatives that wish to entertain anything about Edgar Allan Poe, if you want to create an original song, if you want to sing, if you want to dance, if you want to do a puppet skit or anything, we're looking for this semester, we're looking for people or groups or two people to do some entertaining performances about Edgar Allan Poe. And this will be April 4th on Friday at 6 p.m. at 245 Sullivan Street at the NYU High School. And we're going to put out flyers later and give you more information. But I'm seeking, this is a call. You don't have to audition. A call of anybody who wishes to sing or recite or play an instrument, and I have a friend sing a song about Edgar Allan Poe. Anything originally you established when you were like in fifth grade or eighth grade. So, Miss Dorothy, Miss Dorothy, Dorothy is a staff person at NYU. She's my liaison for the Edgar Allan Poe Award. And you can call her at 202-998-2325.
Excuse me. Hello,
Hello,
sis. Hello.
Thank you.
Hello, this is Edma. Did you finish
I
name
have my
calling?
email address, so.
Ed, no one can hear us
Just get
in the
touch.
room.
Thank you, Lois. And next we have,
I can
yeah,
understand
I
what
think-
talking.
I don't think they can hear us, Ed.
Thank you very much, Eugene.
Sorry.
Yeah, I couldn't follow anything. I don't know what's
I
going on.
can't understand either.
None of us can.
Thank you. None of us can understand.
I just say chat.
just so everyone knows, I'm getting a lot of text in the chat and personal text that people cannot hear us in the room.
I'm working on it. I'm
Okay,
not doing anything different than I usually do.
That was better. We could hear you then. Can you guys hear us?
Yes. Thank you. 3个人 follow 嘛，就是 Ed，我们听不懂意思。
I called on Darlene. She was promoted. I don't have
I
access
promoted her,
to
yes.
remote. Okay.
Hello, hello. This is
Just
Darlene
let me
Lutz.
know while we were trying to fix this.
Darlene, they
Hello.
can't hear us.
Go to
Oh,
someone
they can't hear?
online. Darlene?
Valerie? Hello, CB2. Come in, CB2.
Yeah,
It
you.
is Darlene Lutz.
Can you try to talk to us? Or I don't know if Darlene is trying to speak and we just can't hear anybody on Zoom.
I think that's the case. But I'll do this for the
I
Zoomers.
can't hear Darlene in the room. Oh, Darlene is speaking.
Yes, I am speaking. Hi, everybody. At least those on Zoom who can hear.
Can you
Darlene
hear us in the room?
from the First Precinct Community Council.
Well, I mean on Zoom. Can you?
I don't want to talk over Valerie while they're trying to figure this out.
I don't think they can.
It's getting Darlene's announcement on Zoom, so I apologize in the room.
I'm getting both Valerie's, figuring it out on their end. The First Precinct Community Council monthly meeting is next Thursday,
Darlene, they can hear Darlene.
February
Darlene on
27th,
Zoom.
6 p.m.
But I don't know if they can hear us if we have counter programming speaking in here.
Oh. I'm sorry.
I think
Hang
Darlene is-
hang on one thing.
Wait, no one
Sorry
on
about
Zoom
that,
can hear.
Darlene.
Okay.
Yes. That is correct.
Try.
Darlene?
Darlene, do you want to go again?
Are we good?
Somebody.
I'm getting,
I'm trying. Hang on.
everybody, I'm on Zoom, as you know. The Darlene Lutz, First Precinct Community Council, the monthly meeting for the First Precinct Community Council is February 27th. That's Thursday, next Thursday evening at 6 p.m. at the precinct, 2 blocks south of Canal on Varick Street. It's good to come and get to know your precinct CO. I'm mostly speaking to the crowd in Soho. You are in the First Precinct, and we have all sorts of interesting, tidbits about, how it's going crime-wise in our community and, what's going on in the future. So I hope to see you all there again, 6 p.m., February 27th at the First Precinct. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Darlene, and thank you everyone on Zoom for your patience. Next, I'm going to go to Arturo Fernandez.
Hi, folks. Arturo Fernandez, Community Board 2 Board Member here. I'd just like to make an announcement that given the precedent events of the last months and few days, Member Siegel and I will be introducing a resolution of the business calling for the immediate resignation of Mayor Adams. We encourage the public to take this during public comment to comment on this matter, including without that process of events. The corruption charges, the dismissal of the DOJ attorneys, deputy mayors, what have you. Please take this time in present session to ensure that transparency and accountability are working for the city government. We look forward to hearing your thoughts. Thank you.
Is there anyone I did not call on Zoom or in the room that would like to speak? All right, is there any raised hands on Zoom? I can't see. Oh, okay, maybe I'll put it in the chat. I'll ask one more time. Is there anyone on Zoom that I did not call on for the public session that signed up or that would like to speak? I'm not seeing any on Zoom. I'm not seeing anyone else in the room. Is there anyone in the room that would like to speak during the public session? All right, I'm going to close the public session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Valerie. Next item, adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt? Thank you. Second, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, now reports from elected officials, representatives. I see Connor, I see Biani. Whoever would like to come up first come. And report. Yes, just to remind everyone, you have 2 minutes, and we encourage you to spend your time on things not in your reports, which we do distribute to everyone. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Hi, I am Biani Rodriguez from the Office of Councilmember Carolina Rivera. And I'm so sorry, but I am going to mention stuff from the group, but I just wanted to announce that the New York City Council passed a landmark simulation of the Jacob Lee residence at 50 West 13th Street. And as you know, this building dates back to the 19th century. So it's been great that we were able to renovate, and also our office continues to support immigrant New Yorkers as much as better as we can. We share the community's concerns and are prepared to serve the residents of District 2 in any way that we can. And I also wanted to share some upcoming events.
I think maybe, why don't you swap with me with microphones, see if it doesn't down and see if it's better. It may be online.
People on Zoom can't hear. Is this better? Okay.
It's the microphone.
So, on March 4th, from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., Councilmember Rivera is partnering with the Alliance Ecology Center on a composting workshop, as we all know, starting April 1st. New Yorkers can be fined for not composting correctly, so if you want to learn how to compost and make it easier for you, feel free to stop by. The location is at the Tompkins Square Library. And starting on February 26th, we have our last 11 to 4 p.m. We have small business clinics at the district office, which is located at 254 East 4th Street. Feel free to stop by. We have Spanish and Mandarin translation available. Thank you.
Question, please.
Oh, well, here's one. So, Will Benish, Chair of the Street Activity and Resiliency Committee. I'm just curious, is there continuing outreach that you guys are still doing, like on a building by building or block by block basis on the organics program? Because we've heard that for some folks are still kind of in the dark as to what's required. And I think only so far, like 6% of organics have actually been correctly disposed of through the program. So is that still ongoing? And I think this event, by the way, is a great event to have. And so thank you for doing that.
Yeah, we have talked to work associations, so they should be in the know whether or not things actually come. That's up to them, but we're more than happy to provide information on what the resolutions are and how to compost correctly. If you need the information, feel free to email me at district2@council@nyc.gov. Yes.
I'm sorry, the other board members can ask questions. But I'm sure Biani will be available offline. Any questions from any of our board members online? If not, I guess, thank you, Biani.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Sharif Krabti. I'm a community affairs liaison for State Senator Brian Kavanaugh. Just wanted to start off by saying Happy Lunar New Year to everyone and Happy Black History Month as well. And then just some legislative updates on the housing front. We have a bill with Assemblymember Lasher. We also have a co-sponsor in Brad Hoyland Siegel. And it's to codify the federal fair housing protections into state law. So we know that the new administration in DC might pursue repealing those protections again. So this would codify the disparate impact standard that's currently federal law into New York state law for stronger enforcement against housing discrimination. We introduced that at the House of Justice in Harlem a couple weeks ago alongside Reverend Al Sharpton. Another bill to talk about is we have a Food Safety and Chemical Disclosure Act with Assemblymember Dr. Anna Kellis. And that's going to be to prohibit harmful food additives and chemical dyes, especially in school meals. It also requires transparency in food ingredient disclosure and safety data from producers. We also had a housing hearing earlier this week where we heard from experts and tenants and different stakeholders for 6 hours on Tuesday. And we hosted it at the Senate hearing chamber at 250 Broadway. We heard from a couple different, heard about a couple different issues and bills, including the Housing Access Vouchers Program, the Shelter Arrears Eviction Forestallment Program, which is SAFE, and then also changes to Screech-Ree. And then just to wrap up, speaking of Screech-Ree, we have an information session happening next Thursday, the 27th at 2 p.m. at Manny Cantor Center. I left flyers out on the table, but it's an information session just to understand the program better. It's with the mayor's public engagement unit, and it's also with NYC Aging. And we also have co-sponsors from AM Lee's office and Councilmember Marte. And I also, Biani mentioned the recycling e-waste program, which we're also co-sponsored on. So I left flyers out there for that.
Thank you. Any questions? Mike, we have we have a floating. Maybe how you hold it, it's very sensitive.
At all. It's just one side of it that works. Okay. Differences, but curious if Senator Hoyland-Siegel's office has a comment on Kathy Hochul's plan to install additional state oversight of city business because of the issues regarding the mayor.
Okay, I'm a representative for Senator Kavanaugh.
Oh, sorry.
But you're still asking the question for me.
Yes.
We got Jonah coming up later. You could ask him that too. But no, I don't have any comment on that right now. I think that was just kind of announced like I think within the last 24 hours. So yeah, I'm sorry to say that I don't have an immediate comment, but I can follow up with you too. But yeah, obviously things are developing very quickly with the situation in City Hall and up in Albany.
Thank you. Sorry for the mix-up.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Any other questions? Anyone have a question for Sharif? If not, thank you.
Hello, is this okay? Is this an appropriate distance? Okay. My name is Connor from Councilmember Christopher Marte's office. Nice to see everybody. So I'll try to move quickly. Next week, we have a couple of things being introduced at the council. One bill related to banning artificial grass or turf in city parks. We've seen a worrying trend of the Parks Department converting more and more fields in renovations and in new parks to turf. And we know that it can contain dangerous chemicals, lead, microplastics. These seep into the air, water, and we know that this is very damaging to the environment and to our health. So we're having a press conference in support of this bill on the steps of City Hall at 10:30 on next Thursday, alongside with environmental activists from throughout the city. And so we'd love to see anyone who's interested in that to attend. We're also introducing 2 resolutions in support of Assemblymember Emily Gallagher's Social Housing Development Authority bill, as well as Congressmember Ocasio-Cortez's parallel bill in Congress to create a federal social housing agency. These would create millions of new public affordable homes across the city, state, and country, and create thousands of new union jobs. We're having a press conference of that at 12 p.m. on Friday, February 28th at City Hall with supporting elected officials, and folks are also invited to join that. In terms of budget, so discretionary funding has closed, as well as capital. If you're applying to the Borough President's Office and the council only capital deadline is in March, so people still have time for that. 215 organizations applied for discretionary funds in District 1, so we'll be going through those over the next little while. And in terms of participatory budgeting, final ballot edits will be finalized in the next few weeks. So keep a lookout for the voting period for that. And again, any questions related to the budget can be directed toward Andy, our budget director. In terms of outdoor dining, I know I bring this up every time, but it seems to be quite a relevant issue in Community Board 2. We know that as a lot of these applications or these permits roll out, there's been concern around narrow streets, fire safety, and this particular variance has been granted to a couple of restaurants as it relates to fire access, especially in where you have narrow streets, like in the Village or Little Italy. So we had a meeting with a lot of community stakeholders who are advocating sort of against the rollout of this variance. There's a memo from the FDNY that's associated with it, and we totally understand, the council member totally understands the concern, and so we were working on a letter with Councilmember Botcher's office, who is also in the meeting, to sort of ask more questions, get clarity about this variance, and see how much we can restrict the flexibility when it comes to basic things like fire safety. And then finally, just a couple of reminders. I mentioned last month that we have a Black History Month event that's coming up on Saturday at the African Burial Ground Memorial, or sorry, National Monument. And we're co-hosting that with Assemblymember Charles Fong and District Leader Mariana James. I think our deadline technically passed, but if folks are interested in attending, please feel free to reach out to our office or Assemblymember Fall's office. It was a very pleasant, exciting event last year, so we're expecting it to be the same this year. And then finally, around a year ago, we had started this tree adoption program in District 1 and created this mapping tool to help people sign up to adopt street trees in their districts. And it's been successful. One thing that we've done is partnered with a constituent who's been very involved in this, who's been very helpful, Jeremy, to basically better the tool, make it more accessible, make it more integrated. And so we did a bit of a revamp. It's not a ton of changes, but it's a good opportunity to let people know about that program again. We have a website for it, treetool.district1.nyc, but we also have a link on our website. So we encourage anyone who would be interested in caring for a street tree near them to sign up. And if you have already, your information is still logged, and we encourage you to continue to care for it.
Thank you. Any questions for Connor? I don't see anyone online. Okay, great.
Thank you.
So, okay. District Director work State Senator Brown and Sequo's office. Nice to be here and not right up, and so it's good to be here. Susan, I like the board rule. I'm not going to run through this board report, but I'd encourage you all to run it. There's a fancy QR code. If you want to take a look at that, I can get you with those blue highlights. And hear more about what Rise Up doing. Also, in district, resisting some of these things coming down from the federal government, working to protect our most vulnerable communities. A couple of events. Okay. You can learn more at senate.gov/civil rights 2025. Yes, we got that done. We have, tomorrow's the last day to submit a woman of distinction nominee. Every year, each state senator has the opportunity to nominate a woman of distinction from their district. The prompt is extremely vague, which is good. An upstanding woman of the district. So feel free to get in touch with us if there's someone you want to nominate. If you send it next week, that's okay too. What do we have? Congestion pricing. Okay.
He's not intelligible.
Intelligible.
Okay.
Wait, which one's that? This was the last one we used for the crowd.
Why we have a first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Folks on, okay, start talking and look.
Thumbs up? No thumbs up? Okay.
Blankness.
Should I just-
We'll try another.
You need to stand over here, like away from the.
Maybe she should stand on one.
Well, no, I mean, it seems very close to over there, you know.
Help.
Like some level is way too high. Well, that don't even compare us at all, so I turned it up. I know, but I'm just saying it multiple places, but something is overdriven and then. If you know how this works, then you'll not be shy.
Okay, thank you. No. Okay, at least I can blame.
One, two. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Actually, this guy here.
Got it. 1, 2, 1. Testing. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2.
Oh, I see a thumbs up.
Yes, sounding good. Starting to sound good. Okay. Got it.
One, two, 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 two. 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Come on, sunshine. Testing. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. 1, Okay. This is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. See how it's 1, 2, 1, 2. That is what is causing issues. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Yeah, see that 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. So, like we again. 1, 2, 2. Testing 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. 1, 2. Testing. Testing 1, 2. Straight to here. This is straight out to the mixer. All of them are going to mixer. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. One, two. Okay.
Tell me he's like a theater major or something.
1, 2. 1, 1, 2, 2.
Clearly at the bottom of the screen. We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Blue.
Thank you. Where's the? We cannot do this indefinitely.
Hello. 1, 1, 1. Okay, testing 1, testing 1.
Flooded the zone.
They want this stuff by April.
Well, there's about. I didn't know it was live. Questions were.
Enough people in the room so that if those folks online have to be jettisoned to do it.
I'm so sorry, everybody. This is technical. I'm going to try to move forward as best I can. I'm gonna give you my appropriate prayer. We may take things out of order. If we're not able to establish, connection with the folks online pretty soon, we do have to continue to act. Unfortunately, we have quality, so we're eligible to continue business. And that is the most important thing, is that we get through our resolutions tonight. From America, today at the board this morning, we went through the budget priorities report. It was, there's a final draft yet to come, but with 18 items, including things like housing, security, affordability, resiliency, transportation, cannabis, public safety, arts, education, and additional community support, both funding and tech. The report acknowledges that communities are largely unfunded. Copy is available to, I was not that distributed, that's the revised draft is available. We had 2 RFPs released this month. 3 Below Hudson is not available. Time coming, but to see, there's the second one is the Vansmart School project. Both of those are available. If you have any difficulties downloading that, contact the office available. The first of last month, there was a tour of the Gatlinburg Center that was hosted by the Manhattan Parks Commission, Shamir. Representing chairs of County or this was constructive feedback from the community. For sure. The good points that were also at that location. More needs to follow. Would like to particularly acknowledge the outstanding work of the Auto Diamond Working Group. Since the last meeting, they've held 3 areas. The agendas have had over 100 items on them. The board so far had a 100 member application. We've had 66% of 8% of those sidewalk applications that are in the pipeline for let's see some of those other interesting statistics. 4 out of 9 of the normal applications, capital applications, refer to the FDA for a waiver. So, it's the resistor to tomorrow. But I just wanted to acknowledge them for an incredible amount of work and effort. Just want to know if you can, please get your applications in. Folks who are interested, this application is still open. And we currently do have 7 vacant seats on the board. With that, I think, yes, question? I just want to know some people online because I'm really happy to be about because there will be people online asking questions. No, I really want to go around it. Let's see how this is going. It's still.
People are asking if I can join on audio, but it'll be feedback.
I know.
I apologize to the folks online. I think then at this point, we're just going to have to continue with the reports, just to look through them. And so it's at least on the record.
Yes.
I have a really big mouth if I can just talk. Okay. Hi, happy February, everybody. I'm Nicole Barth, I'm council member Eric Foster's office. I just have a couple of things for you. I wanted to let you know that Councilmember Officer and Councilmember Carlene Rivera, and it's a really advocate to highlight the urgent need to increase awareness about disability rights to increase exemption, otherwise known as DREE. They have introduced into the city council legislation that will expand outreach to ensure eligible New Yorkers actually know about DREE and streamline the application process to make it more accessible for individuals with disabilities. The legislation would require city agencies to distribute information about DREE to all persons identified as receiving Social Security disability insurance, supplemental security income under the Federal Social Security Act, disability pension or disability compensation benefits provided by the United States Department of Veteran Affairs, and more, with written applications and forms offered in multiple languages. I think this is very important legislation. Also, another legislation alert, the council member introduced this past over the last month, legislation to mandate the New York City Health Department to launch a public outreach and educational campaign about the availability and the use of fentanyl test strips. Fentanyl test strips are small, they're inexpensive, and they can detect the presence of fentanyl in drugs. And by expanding access to this very simple but vital resource, we can take a critical step towards harm reduction. One that acknowledges the realities of substance use while prioritizing human life. We continue to have what we call we have conversations and policy perspectives. We do these at night online. We record them so you can watch them on Facebook if you would like. Two this month was we had the Honorable Judge John Wang, who was he's the presiding judge of the Midtown Community Justice Center, and he talked about New York City's criminal court system. We also had a discussion with the Chief Executive Officer of the New York Public Library, and for Anthony Marks. Like I said, you guys can watch that again. With Connor talking about trees, it reminded us of our program called Green Me in Between. Green Me in Between is it's a program that the council member and the court have together, and you can donate to have additional trees placed in the district that are in eligible vacant pits throughout the district. I also wanted to remind everybody, every month we have our housing clinic that happens on the second Tuesday of every month, and we have our rent freeze clinic that happens on the fourth Thursday of every month. And I just want to say, like, over the last month, it feels like a lot has happened. February is a short month, but it feels very long already. I just want to state that Councilmember Botcher stands with the trans community, as does everybody in our office. So thank you very much, everybody.
Questions? Like, oh, so fast.
Gotta get out of here fast. I can hear you.
Stand.
Okay. We just heard, I think, the great work of the outdoor dining committee, and yet clearly there's something amiss in the city with only less than 1% of the applications that have actually been approved. Transportation, I believe, Brett Lander said that Last year, the city collected at least $10 million just from the outdoor dining alone. April 1 is just around the corner. Curious what the council member's office is doing to either kick the Department of Transportation into gear or reevaluate the legislation around outdoor dining.
I think I can speak for all of them. We're not reevaluating the legislative, anything around outdoor dining. This is a DOT program. I think that, as we heard, outdoor dining is getting completely clobbered with applications. I know we are speaking to them, and Connor mentioned that, Councilmember Marte and, Councilmember Botcher are speaking to them. One about the FDNY waivers, but also about getting the application through faster. It took a very long time. I know we had one of our restaurants, they applied, they were one of the first people to apply in March, and I don't even know if they have been approved yet. So it's really on the DOT side. They said they're hiring more people and they're dedicating more people, more staff to get through all the applications. I know that outdoor dining crew here at CB2 is like the best out of every community board. They work like crazy. They are very, very, very precise in how they look at every single application. So I think it's more DOT, and believe me, we've been fighting DOT as I believe everybody else has too.
So just frustration. She can't really, unfortunately. She has a hand up. I was just hoping that she could actually hear into the messages.
Are you calling on me?
No,
Are you calling on me?
Just.
I'm trying to speak.
Yes, yeah, we're
Oh, good. Okay. So Nicole, I'm going to ask you a question, but please stand closer to the mic. You're pretty good, but you're far away from the mic to be heard. So I'm very interested in Scree and Dree, and I'm very grateful that Botcher, Councilmember Botcher supported Gail Brewer's resolution 506 or 560 in June, and we need to re-up that with new numbers. But how can we? It was hard to hear everything you said. So how can we get the précis, the summary of what you were talking about Scree and Dree? Is it in your report, or how do we get that information?
Actually, there was for Scree and Dree, there was hold on one sec, Katie. Where did I put it? There's a legislation alert that if you call the office, I can send it out. And I believe if it wasn't in our last newsletter, it will be in our next newsletter, which we send out once a month.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. Questions from? I see it. Okay, now. Do you have to, is that a show like access? Don't think so. Now we have the folks online. Let's keep.
Okay, I'm still on one community applications. I emailed y'all, the community board members who need to apply. And we encourage new people to apply to join the board. The manager for the Manhattan Borough President's Office. Our state of borough address will be on Sunday, March 23rd at LaGuardia High School, 100 Amsterdam Avenue. Save the date. We're doing a Know Your Rights workshop on the 1st of March with Hamilton Madison Street House at 1 p.m. at 269 Henry Street. We also have a Know Your Rights document on our website. And lastly, we have a solid waste advisory board for Manhattan. We are encouraging community members to apply to join. The deadline to apply is March 14th.
and the Solid Waste Advisory Board regarding recycling, composting. Yeah. That's it. That's my report. Yep. Low.
Borough President,
It's on. It's on.
Borough President, what did you say, March 23rd? At LaGuardia High School? Will we be getting emails on that specifically?
Yes,
Okay.
we will send out
So we'll put on
flyers, RSVP link for the state of Borough. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any more hands for questions. So, thank you, Andrew. I have a plan, let's see before we do some skin later. If we could, was it been elevated? We also got him for in his office. Peter and Hayden. Well, we'll take one.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Okay, I was garbled, but I'll try my best. Good evening. It's Peter Say from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. I want to give our updates from our office. First and foremost, topic of discovery reform. The Manhattan District Attorney, along with the district attorneys for the other boroughs, are working with the legislature for discovery reforms. We've attached or we've given our highlights and key findings to all the community boards in Manhattan. We're open to questions. Some other community boards have asked us to speak at their executive committees, and we're prepared to do that. So I'll follow up with Chair Kent and Mark. Next topic is, for this area, the Village Interagency Task Force continues to meet. They meet every 2 weeks. I hope in the future one of their co-chairs can join this session so they can give updates directly, but I can report that they're engaging with the mayor's office, the deputy mayor of public safety, engaging city agencies like sanitation, Department of Homeless Services, to try and address these issues. And some members are on their mailing list and they are sending out updates. And finally, it may be the cold of winter, but we are starting to accept applications for summer internships for high school and college students. We have 3 different types of internships: high school internships, gun violence prevention fellowships, which is geared to college students, and youth ambassador programs. If you need any information, I'd be happy to send it to you. Thank you.
Thank you for all your questions for Peter. I don't see any hands or any online. That's it. Thank you, Peter. No questions. Next, Hayden.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much. My name is Hayden. I'm Director of Special Projects for Assemblymember Grace Lee. And I've just a couple quick updates to give. So first of all, I want to say Happy Black History Month. Tonight, actually right now, we are co-hosting an event with Assemblymember Epstein to honor the contributions of various Black community leaders in Lower Manhattan. On the Lunar New Year side of things, we had a couple of recent events recently. We had our annual breakfast that we co-hosted with Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine. It was a great success. We saw a lot of community leaders there, with a total of over 300 attendees. And then this past Sunday, we also had, despite the cold rain, a really good turnout at the Lunar New Year parade in Chinatown. So it was really great to see all the community members there. Legislatively and in Albany, we're doing everything we can and to produce legislation preventing the Trump administration's overreach into New York State and protect our own laws as best we can. Regarding that, I'd like to comment slightly on, or briefly on the Mayor Adams situation and the associations with the Trump administration, just by reiterating that Assemblymember really publicly called on the mayor to resign back in the fall when the indictment information was first revealed. Other than that, we're really excited for the future legislative season coming up, and happy to take any questions. And you can reach us by email or phone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions from? I don't see any hands, so no questions. Thank you. Are there any other reps online that I haven't mentioned? I don't see anybody else in the room, so I think we're done with the reports. Okay, so the next item will be the treasurer's report.
So this is your two treasurer's report, just a few small little updates. We're still targeting to spend another $105,800 by June 30th. The majority of the cost recently pertains to the extra help we've been doing in the office, Francine and Fran, and also some other contractor work that we've had. And we're going to begin our Airtable work soon. We're going to Mark in the office very soon. And that's it. Any questions?
Any questions from anyone about the treasurer's report?
Oh, yes.
No? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Zach.
Sorry, this is the same as the Excel spreadsheet in the board minutes. This is, I just had a question about the two line items at the bottom that were like $15,000 for tech subscriptions and another several $1,000s for telecom. Can you explain what those are?
Per year, that's the usual cost that they charge for the office telephone service for the city.
It's $3,000 a year for the office telephone.
It's a same cost.
Okay, and the other one, the $15,000. I don't know.
He's referring to two line items, so.
So that's it goes to software subscription costs.
Yeah, I
we spent on other scanning software. So we're just projecting a higher rate, but we're not going to spend that much on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Just permitting.
Any more questions? Okay, District Manager.
Testing.
This works.
Testing. Hi, folks. Hi, folks. I'm hoping somebody can hear me somewhere. Grateful to Craig for trying to help us out there. The thing I'm supposed to do at this meeting is to report on the election process. Calls for self-nominations to be reported to the district manager. That's what our bylaws say. So I'll now report to you the self-nominations that we've received so far. They are for chair, Valerie De La Rosa, for first vice chair, Eugene Yu, and treasurer, Anthony Wong. There was correspondence that our two secretaries may be willing to continue to serve. But they missed the deadline for the week ahead of things, so please someone nominate them tonight or anyway. But that does mean that the second vice chair position as of today does not have a nominee or a self-nominee, and I believe the chair will open the floor for nominations later in the meeting. So that's my bylaws obligation. The tally committee, our bylaws call for a tally committee to be composed of the borough president's representative. So Andrew Chang, I'm sorry, you don't really get a choice. We asked for another representative of an elected official, and Sharif is going to make sure that he's going to be able to do it, but we pick on the new guy. So thank you, Sharif. And then we need a committee chair, obviously one that's not running for something, to be the third person in the tally committee. The tally committee is exactly what it sounds like. The person who make sure that confirms that the election was properly counted up and the right number of votes were received. I have put on, Yoski, you're going to help me here. I have put on the screen what you're going to see. Oh, so let me back this up. The way we vote is by ballot, and we are going to continue as we did last year to use the online ballot for everybody that can use it. So we will send, what I'm going to encourage you to do is to make sure that to the extent that you have your email on your phone in the March meeting, we will send you a ballot link, a lot like this. Yosuke, please click on that link. There you go. And it'll bring you to the Google form. And if you scroll down, you'll see, this is a test, obviously. It'll ask for your name. Somewhere in there should be your name. Board member's name. Would you click on that and let it, yeah, there you go. There you go. So then you'll find your name. We'll have a real security code for the March meeting. And then, as you see, I have some silly questions instead of the candidates because it's a test, not the real thing. And you'll click on those and then click submit. Even if you're in the room, if you could bring your phone or laptop and do it this way, it'll make the work of the tally committee easy because this generates a spreadsheet that tells you how many votes were cast and for which candidates. If anybody cares to right now, I've sent around this test ballot. If you wouldn't mind at some convenient point in between wondering why I can't get the audio to work, you can click on that and we'll see the spreadsheet and make sure it works correctly. The bylaws do actually call for us to test the election process. So this is that test. Other quick updates. Let me just go to just note the off-site update. The Parks and Waterfront Committee will again in March meet at 75 Morton Street, the middle school 323. That's Wednesday, March 5th, starting at 6:30. The school uses the room until 6 o'clock, so it's a scramble to get in there. I'm grateful for Yosuke's help on that one too. SLA 1 and 2 will be moving at least for this month to Lennox Health Greenwich Village, the 6th floor conference room. And we'll be there for as long as they'll have us until we can get back at the church. I understand from Father Mike that they are actually putting shovels into the basement effectively, as you know, starting this week. I don't know that there's a crypt down there, but there's a good thought. Anyway, I think everything else we can deal with online and by email. Thank you for your patience tonight. We'll do our best to continue this on.
Yes, question.
Put it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I got that from the NSA. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is your security code.
Any questions from Mark on? Okay, yes.
So,
Question for me?
yeah, so if Parks is meeting at 75 Morton on Wednesdays, what you're saying is that the CB2 conference room is open on the 5th.
That's correct.
Okay.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
now looking at Andrew Chang because both of those meetings are hybrid. So we will need the borough president's Zoom hookup in order to have a second meeting that isn't in person only. So Andrew, if you wouldn't mind making a note.
Yeah, most likely we can do it. See ya.
Thank you so much.
Send me a date.
I'll do it right now. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, if
Thank
there's
you.
no other questions. Okay, at this point, I will close the public session. And we are now moving into a business session. So the next item is approval of the January minutes. Does anybody have any questions about them, any edits or concerns with them? Okay, seeing none, we'll take a motion to approve. And a second. All those in favor? Thank you. Okay, now the next election of officers. As Mark reported, we currently have self-nominations for chair, for first vice chair, and for treasurer. At this point, I will open the floor, starting with the chair. Does anybody wish to nominate themselves or someone else for the position of chair? I can't, first, I want to make sure the people online, can they hear me? Because, okay, thank you. That's important. Okay. You can have, I'll just open the floor for nominations for chair. Does anybody have any? Okay, I'm seeing none. I will now close.
Well, I'll
the-
nominate
I'm sorry,
Will
okay.
Banesh. Without having talked to him at all.
That sounds like Matt Metzger.
That would be Matt Metzger.
Okay, he declines with gratitude.
Anyone? Dear God, anyone else?
Are you just, is he just?
He said, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry, I cannot take that seriously. Okay, at this point, the nominations for chair are closed. Next, first vice chair. Does anyone wish to nominate themselves or someone else for the position of first vice chair? I see no one online. If there are this, additionally, I will close the floor for nominations for first vice chair. Next is second vice chair. Does anyone wish to nominate themselves for second vice chair or nominate someone else? Yes, Ed. Okay, Arturo, do you accept that nomination? Okay, so we now have a nomination for second vice chair. Anyone else who would wish to propose a nomination? Anyone online? I see no hands. I see nothing further. Okay, therefore I will now close the nominations for second vice chair. Next is we'll do secretary. Do I have any nominations? Yes, Susan. Okay. Emma, do you accept?
Thank you. Yes, I do.
Okay, Emma Smith is now nominated for secretary. Does anyone else wish to nominate anyone else or themselves for secretary? I see no one online, therefore I will close the nominations for secretary. Assistant secretary. Okay, I've got a bunch of hands. I will start with Susan Gammy and then I will go.
Second.
Well, he has to accept first. Okay. Okay. Brian Papers just accepted the nomination for second vice chair. Means assistant secretary. Sorry. Is there anyone else who would like to nominate someone or themselves for assistant secretary? Lois, you had your hand up. That was for Brian. Okay. I don't see anyone online, therefore I will now close the nominations for assistant secretary. And last but not least is treasurer. I'm sorry. Okay. Because I'm concerned about people online hearing, I will go through the list one more time. But first, we will address treasurer. Does anyone wish to nominate themselves or someone else for treasurer? Can the folks online hear me? So yes, they can. Okay, so that's sufficient. Okay. If there are no additional nominations, I will now close the floor for nominations for treasurer. I just want to ask the people online, did you hear me open the floor for the other positions for chair, first vice chair, second vice chair, secretary, and assistant secretary? Did you hear that or did you miss any of it?
I missed some of it because of how muffled it is. Maybe it can be typed on the chat. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be in the form anyways, right? But
okay. Oh, well, I guess Ivy, were there any nominations that you wish to make? No, I didn't. Okay. And I don't see anyone else online miss the opportunity to present a nomination. So we're good, and the nominations are now, since we have at least one nominee for every office. Yes, Carter. For which office? I'm. Yeah, it's still open. Donna, do you accept? Okay. We now have two nominees for second vice chair. Is anyone else for second vice chair or any of the offices? I know this is a little out of order, but due to the technical difficulties, it's important that everyone be heard. Does anyone have any additional nominations for any of the offices? If not, I will close all nominations. Okay, seeing none, the nomination process is now closed. We will be voting next month for our officers. Any officer any candidate who wishes to can submit a statement. We will be collecting those statements. The office will collect them as a package. I forget what the deadline is. It's the Friday before. The deadline is the week before, the Friday before our full board. And all these statements will go out as a package to our members. And with that, I think that's the nomination process. So next we will, or actually we should at this point take another roll call. Yeah.
Did you get me, Emma?
Susan here. Here. You're here. Oh. Sean Spence is also here as usual. Susan Wittenberg is here. John. Thanks for the questions, guys. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go to our standing committee reports with resolutions, and we'll start with landmarks. Who is?
I'm clearly here. Our meeting was rather routine. I'll read the resolutions. 465 6th Avenue to legalize facade renovations constructed without LPC permits
Unfortunately, you're coming in and out, and it's not clear. I think we're gonna have Susan Granny do the resolutions for you.
So this is Edma. I haven't heard Edma calling. Hello, this is Edma. I haven't heard. My name is called.
Ed, they can't hear you.
No, I don't follow the calling very mushy, not clear. So I don't kind of follow my get in. So I don't know whether my name is called or not.
Yeah, they got us, Ed, if you were, she does it from the pictures, if we don't answer.
I haven't heard my name called so far.
I know they're having technical problem, but they already noted you down.
Thank you,
They
thank you very much.
They know you're here, okay?
Thank you, thank you.
Have we lost the room?
Yep.
I have to say, this is ridiculous. When we have $13,000 of unspent tech money and we can't get anybody other than Mark Diller who doesn't know how to work the equipment.
This is not a legitimate meeting, actually.
I'm sorry, it is a legitimate meeting. We have a quorum. We have a quorum in the room. We verified we have a quorum in the room.
My hand has been raised. This is Shirley Smith.
Go ahead, Dr. Smith.
No, I just want to know, it's so muffled. I've sent a note to Emma. She didn't respond on the second request. I just want to know if she recognized that I was here.
Yes, she did. She did.
Thank you.
I don't know.
I have no problem doing that in the room. I think the issue is one of them hearing me.
Test. We cannot hear if the microphone's not used.
Can you hear us now without a microphone?
Yes, yes, we can, I can.
I agree with Ritu. This is ridiculous.
Okay, we're gonna try then just speaking with your voice just naturally.
Okay, we had 5 resolutions and I will read.
Hang on. Okay, it should work now.
Now there's an echo. This is kind of a waste of everyone's time. And now we can't hear you, Susan. No, we can't hear you at all.
Yes, yes.
Hello?
Microphone or without the microphone?
How's it sounding to you guys? Everyone online? Can you hear us now? Yes, no?
A little bit.
Yes.
Can you get closer to the speaker?
Oh, the microphone,
I
I
meant
think.
the microphone.
Hi, how are you? Nothing. What about this? This radio just turned off.
It is, it's now, yeah.
Hello, how are you this evening? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, we had 5 applications. The first one is 465 Sixth Avenue. The application is to legalize facade renovation constructed without LPC permits and to install signage and lighting. Therefore, be it resolved that CB2 Manhattan recommends approval of the infill and signs. Although they are not historic, they are generally permitted in this section of Sixth Avenue. That was A, and B, approval of the cove lighting. Though not historic, it is not unsuitable to this section of Sixth Avenue. That was unanimous. The second application, 535 Broadway, application is to replace existing non-historic storefront, add signage, and uncover existing cast iron piers. The resolution is A, approval of the introduction of a street entrance directly into the store and commendation of the interior location, and commendation of the interior location of the ADA ramp. And B, denial of the infill's large mall-like expanse of glass unless it is broken up with a continuous transom line, as is more characteristic of the district. And C, denial of the sign unless its illumination is at a modest level and that the design of the lighting system does not permit its being brightened. That was unanimous. 374 McDougal Street, application is to construct a rooftop addition, add mechanical equipment, guardrails, and parapet extensions to the roof, and insert a large window at the rear first floor. We recommend A, approval of the rooftop addition, provided that it is set back from the south side of the building to distinguish it as a rooftop structure. And B, approval of the front railing, the balcony, and the rear facade first floor window, which is harmonious with the building and harmonious with the numerous altered facades in the garden. Also unanimous. 817 Washington Street, application is to replace the storefront infill at Washington and Gansevoort Street, enlarge the ground floor masonry openings at Gansevoort Street, and install new signage above the entry doors at existing sheds. The recommendation is A, approval of the Washington Street infill and the 3 similar bays on Gansevoort Street. B, approval of the transom and hanging signs, provided that they match the approved signs elsewhere in the building. And C, denial of the plate glass windows and door on the Gansevoort Street facade that removes an inordinate amount of historic material and erases the appearance of a clearly secondary facade. And D, that there be a replacement design that respects the quality of a secondary facade and that the design be seen by the CB2 Landmarks Committee for review and a recommendation before being considered by the commission. Again, unanimous. 5, 3 East 10th Street, application is to excavate for a new subcellar and rear yard paving. We recommend approval of this carefully considered application with all details apparently in place, provided that all applicable regulations concerning the work, including monitoring, to ensure that the integrity of the subject property and adjoining and neighboring properties are rigorously observed. Unanimous. Okay, I see, Emma, that there are 2 5s here, so it should be a 5 and a 6. So it was actually 6 applications. Okay, it's actually 7.
7.
6, approval is to place a garbage bin enclosure in front of the church building. The recommendation is approval of this application to place 2 bins on the sidewalk before the building, provided that they are separately placed as described above. Meaning that they're separated into 2 units and not just one large continuous unit. Next one is recommendation for the revocable consent that has to accompany the application, that also needs to be in order to approve this garbage bin because it's hooking into the sidewalk. That was unanimous. Okay, in the business session.
Then we're just gonna do the resolutions. Because of the choose.
The presence read is different than the version that was in the final package. I just want to make sure that discrepancy doesn't show up on the final.
Which is that, Susanna?
The, good question. I think it was, it was number.
It was the one about the carefully considered, 3 East 10th Street. It sounded like the therefore be it resolved. The wording on the final package is a little bit different than what you said.
I thought I was reading from the final package.
Did I get that wrong? I thought it was different. Anyway, okay, maybe, I don't know. I thought it was different. All right, never mind.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Does anyone call these items any of those 7 resolutions for discussion? Any questions or issues with them? I see none. Therefore, if there's no objection, we can vote on it as a block. Resolutions 1 through 7, are in favor? Opposed?
President Gamma, please repeat what you had. It's inaudible from everybody else.
Unfortunately, is it possible for them to wait on the turn? Yeah, we have a quorum in the room. We actually do not have to. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to make that call because we can't just keep waiting. We will run out of time. So we're gonna have to vote, you know, if it's hopefully to come back in, but at this point, if all those in favor of the resolutions 1 through 7. Any opposed? Abstentions or recusals? Okay, they pass. We're gonna go next to street activities.
Oh, so you don't want to discuss it?
No, the report is available for people to read. If anyone has questions, we can address them. Unless there was something about the report that specifically you had that was an issue or something unclear. Okay.
Okay. So we had a great meeting this month. We had a presentation from SAPO. There's a report that you can all read in the board package. A lot of interesting topics discussed. Please feel free to read through it. Ask me if there's any questions. So going through the applications now, really quickly, number 1, Feb 6 Boohoo Coffee Cart, that was unanimous approved. Number 2, Feb 6 Prada wallpaper event, that was unanimous approved. 3, Amiri Coffee Truck, that was unanimous denied, no show. 4, new product launch Prince Street, that was a unanimous approved. 5, 6, and 7 have to do with load in, load out, and a small queue line for a pop-up on Lafayette Street, that was unanimous approved. Number 8 was for a queue line on Mott Street, that was unanimous approved. Number 9 is for Addicted Valentine's Day, that's a branded flower truck, that was unanimous approved. And number 10 was a Maybelline event in the Gansevoort Plaza. That was unanimous denied due to the planned use of LED moving advertisements on a truck, which are not allowed. And all the FYI renewals were unanimous approved.
Yes.
So we were trying to get info on that. Like SAPO deletes all their events immediately after they happen in the database. So we actually were trying to figure out whether it happened. So I'll let you know. Yeah, I was asking them over the last couple of days trying to get an answer.
Okay,
What? Is that something like you?
yes,
I saw something on X about it.
okay.
It was posted in like a West Village Facebook group or something. Yes, it did happen.
Okay. It did. Which?
Just a mic.
Mike, yeah, please.
Lululemon, 567.
Yep.
Is this just, are they just setting up there for 6 weeks?
It's inside, yeah, it's a pop-up that's gonna go on for 6 weeks inside a building. The only thing that's on the street is, and you have to pre-register for the classes, so it's really just for load in and like build out of the pop-up, but it's essentially a pop-up exercise studio they're gonna have inside.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought it
it's
was.
it's not like a street activation for 6 weeks. Any additional questions or anyone want to call out any of those items? We've got 1 through 10 and then 11 through 19. Okay, seeing none, no, we'll take those all as a block. All in favor?
Hi.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Yes, I'm sorry. Recuse? I need to recuse on number 10. I'm a voting member of the meat packing bid. Okay? Yes. Yes. You're right. Yes, I put the wrong thing down there. So number 10 was unanimous approved with 1 recusal. Okay, it's. Or unanimous denied with 1 recusal, sorry. Yeah, it is actually, since she's not eligible, it is still a unanimous, but it's with a lower number. Okay. Any other recusals or abstentions? Okay. I will just say, I know we weren't supposed to go through the whole report. There is a link in there, which is probably new information to most people. There's actually a link you can go to now where you can look at all forward events and you can filter through different events online on the website. So if you're looking for events in the future, you can now do that. Oh. It's a link that I put in my report. Yep.
Thank you, Will. Amazing. More links.
I think that's Ivy. Was that Ivy?
You're welcome. That's me.
Oh, okay. Next is traffic.
Yeah.
Who is the? Shirley, go ahead.
Well, can I be heard?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. One resolution unanimously. No.
You just pause. Is there someone else in the room from traffic who could deliver that report?
Yeah, who's in person?
Unfortunately, you are quite garbled. It's not. If Janine or Janet would do, it would be very helpful. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Shirley, but
That's okay. Janet, go to it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Wasn't really, so this was, can you hear me? Am I heard? Okay. So this was, the Department of Transportation came in and gave us an overview of a micro hub pilot program, which we discussed, and we resolved, that, okay. We recommend it encourage them to consider following locations in CB2. One was at 6th Avenue between West 3rd and West 8th Street. Another is at Canal Street as it approaches West Street. And if you want all the details as to why, they're all in there. One is on the southwest corner of 10th Avenue and 14th Street. One is on West 3rd between Mercer and LaGuardia. Another is to recommend one in Hudson Square Printing District. And these are micro hubs where a company will come with their truck and then unload into smaller green vehicles, whether they be cargo bikes or small electric vans. And it's a pilot to get more deliveries off our streets. Be it further resolved that CB2 considers accommodating, because right now the program only have 4 trucks a day, so we think that's an underutilization, and we request that DOT look into using these spaces more efficiently. With tighter schedules, smaller trucks, a reservation system. We also, the fact that the micro hubs are owned by one company versus a cross section of company, we see that as a limitation. And on providing relief to the residential neighborhoods which would be impacted from trucks from other companies without micro hubs. So we urge DOT to replace that approach to be more inclusive, and we recommend that DOT include and post no idling rules in micro hubs during the pilot and in the permanent program. Unanimous in favor. Thank you, Janet. Does anyone wish to discuss this resolution? Anyone online? Anyone have questions on this item? Okay, I see. Yes, Will.
That I'm just a little, and I read that in the report that you talk about each site would have one company.
Yes.
Is that basically just calling for more competition?
Well, the RFP, I think it's because DOT can't manage it, so it's easiest in the pilot for it to be an Amazon hub, a UPS hub, a FedEx hub, because
Okay.
they're offloading everything.
Okay, so each hub would be a separate company potentially?
Yeah.
Or there can be multiple under one, okay.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, I'm sorry? Did somebody say something? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions or recusals? Okay, thank you. It passes. The next is schools.
I'm here. Hi, Patricia Laria. We had one resolution. Resolution urging the DOE to implement a multi-year plan that will provide all New York City students with the benefits of smaller classes. Therefore, the wording is a little different in the packet. It should be it resolved that CB2 urges the DOE to allocate at least 1/3 of the funding needed next year to meet the class size caps over the next 3 years so that ramping up of hiring and recruiting of teachers can proceed in an orderly and rational way. Be it further resolved that CB2 urges the DOE to ramp up school construction to alleviate overcrowding in District 2 and elsewhere and adopt the recommendations of the class size working group and to allow more schools to have the space to attain smaller classes required by the law. Be it further resolved that CB2 asks that the DOE should take the class law into account when implementing the enrollment policies. Be it further resolved that the DOE, UFT, and CSA should not grant permanent exemptions to overcrowded schools, but that the DOE must produce a plan so that all schools can be provided with the space required for smaller classes by expanding and accelerating new school construction by adjusting enrollment between nearby schools. Be it resolved that the state education commissioner should require the DOE to produce an actual multi-year class size plan demonstrating how sufficient funding and space will be provided over the next 3 years to allow all New York City schools and all students to benefit from smaller classes they need and deserve and that are required by law. And it was unanimous in favor.
Thank you, Patricia. Does anyone wish to discuss this resolution or have any questions on it? Okay, I see none. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Any recusals? Okay, thank you. Next is SLA.
Okay, SLA1 met on February 4th, our last time in the church for a while. So there's two things just before I go through this. I added Valerie there. She was in attendance for that meeting. The vote tally on item number 4 should be the same as everything else that was wrong. The online version is correct. So the first application was Dun Huang Corp. doing business as DH Noodles, 15 West 8th Street. It's a restaurant wine license. The store itself is already open, the restaurant. A denial list with stipulations being adhered to. All our votes were unanimous. Ms. Known, UWS LLC, doing business as Schmoen, 61 West 8th Street, on-premise restaurant. This was an alteration to add the adjacent storefront at 63 West 8th Street. Deny unless with stipulations being adhered to. The Gap Inc. doing business as Banana Republic, 552 Broadway. This is an on-premise for a bottle club. It's previously unlicensed location. Deny unless with stips being adhered to. Lachine LLC doing businesses to be determined. 76 Carmine Street on premise for a restaurant, denial unless with stipulations being adhered to. Sophia's 143 Inc. doing business as Sophia's Little Italy, 143 Mulberry Street on premise for a restaurant. This is a transfer. And it's not, it's transfer, but it's the same person's keeping it. A different corporation name. Deny unless with stipulations being adhered to. Delta Charlie, New York City, LLC at 5 Spring Street. This is an on-premise for a tavern. Deny unless with stipulations being adhered to. Victoria, 196 LLC, doing business as Piccolo Cucina, 196 Spring Street. It's a new restaurant wine. That was a deny, unanimous. Mishka, New York LLC, doing business as Mishka Soho, 517, 519 Broome Street, restaurant wine. Deny unless with stips being adhered to. Lamasan, at 359 6th Avenue, on-premise restaurant. This was an alteration to add sidewalk seating. Deny unless with stipulations being adhered to, we waive their appearance. And then items 10 through 14 are layovers or withdrawals.
Thank you, Donna. Does anyone wish to call out any of those items for discussion or have questions about them? We have items 1 through 9 and then 10 through 14 being the layovers and no-shows. Okay, if there, so we will now take those as a block. All those in favor? Any opposed? Abstentions? Yes? Okay, we have an abstention on number 7 from Ed Siegel. Any others? Any recusals? Okay, next.
Okay,
Next.
SLA 2, February 6th, we had 11 applications, 8 resolutions, all decisions were unanimous, and our last meeting at the church for that one too. Casa Piata LLC, 55 Greenwich Avenue. This is a tavern wine. Deny unless with stipulations being adhered to. Cynthia 2 LLC, doing business as Cynthia, 32 Jones Street, on premise for a restaurant. Deny unless with stipulations being adhered to. New Grill Village, Inc. 71 West 3rd Street, on premise for a restaurant. Deny unless with being adhered to. JDA Cornelia LLC, doing business as Stella Nima, 18 Cornelia Street, on premise restaurant, and deny unless with stipulations being adhered to. And Central Pay Wine Bar, it's an on-premise restaurant, and this was an alteration to add roadbed, and that was a denial. Items 6 through 10. I think that 11 applications, 6 through 10 were layovers of withdrawal. There's 2 item 8 resolutions in there. One should be item 9. It's been.
Okay, so you actually have 11.
No, I have 10. It's just 8. It
Oh.
goes 8, 8, and then it goes 10. There's no 9.
Okay. Does anyone wish to call out any of those items for discussion or have a question about them? Okay, seeing none, we will vote on 1 through 5 and 6 through 10 together. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Any recusals? I'm sorry, online. Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe, did you have, did you have any no's or abstentions or recusals on any of those items? Can she hear me? She's not acknowledging me. I'm guessing that since she didn't raise her hand, that was just a miscue. Okay, I'm gonna assume that she is voting with the majority. She was, yeah, she's a member of the committee and she voted in favor at the committee. So, okay, thank you, Donna. Next is cannabis.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Do I sound clear? Ish. All right, we had 3 notice. Wow, we had 3 notice to municipality forms. One of them, 4211 Lafayette, withdrew. Curaleaf. We had 1 renewal for Union Square Travel Agency, which was approved, and we had 1 new retail AU application on East 11th Street, which was proximity restricted by 2 other dispensaries. and lots of opposition from the residents, which was unanimously denied.
Okay, thank you. Are there anyone want to discuss all of those resolutions or call them out or have questions about them? Seeing none. Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions or recusals?
I'm a recusal on all, given my employer is associated with the Social Equity Fund.
Okay, that was Matt Metzger. Thank you, Matt. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our standing committee reports. So at this time, I will ask, is there any new business? Okay, the floor recognizes Ed Siegel.
Hello, everyone. Our chair and myself would like to, we're not calling for a motion just yet, but we would like to bring to the community board a resolution calling for the removal and resignation of Mayor Adams. Mark sent out this resolution last night in your email inboxes. We have paper copies in person if you would like to read them as well. Basically, we have been incredibly frustrated, scared, angered at all of the recent actions that have really come to a fore in the last week with the mayor. I think the summarized takeaways of this resolution are that that the mayor is compromised by this relationship with the Federal Department of Justice, and that he is not an accurate and not a dependable steward to manage our city and ways that will directly impact our community board while he is still in office. We see this most specifically with the announced resignations of 4 deputy mayors who run things like healthcare, parks, landmarks. The vast majority of our community boards, of our subcommittees, it will be very difficult to advocate for a hospital when we don't have a deputy mayor of Health and Human Services. And we have no public reports on it, but you can assume are very highly qualified public servants who serve under them, who don't talk to the reporters, are probably also looking to leave a sinking ship. So our therefores of this resolution are to call out our what we believe to be problematic about this, to call for Mayor Adams to resign, and to call for the 2 legal methods to remove the mayor, one of which is Governor Hochul is able to remove him by bringing charges, which is undefined and has not been used in the modern history of the law. And for the Committee on Mayoral Inability, which is made up of the Corporation Council, the Comptroller, the longest-serving borough president, Queens BP Donovan Richards, a deputy mayor to be named by the mayor, and perhaps one more person that I'm forgetting I should read off of here. We are specifically asking in the therefores to advocate our local elected officials to be calling for this resignation. We are not addressing it to the governor or to the inability committee themselves. And so I think that's basically it.
At this point, you would need to put a resolution on the floor. You'll have to make a motion to put something on the floor so that we could have discussion.
Wait, I make a motion to put the resolution as sent to the committee last night. If you need me to read out the full thing, I can do that. I would spare us the time in order to do that, but
I don't think that's necessary. Everyone has a copy. There are hard copies here in the front if anyone needs one. First I need a second. Okay, so we have a second. Now we can, yes, who was online? I'm sorry. Well, they received it as an email. Okay, so we now have a second on this. Anyone wish to be recognized to discuss this resolution? Yes.
Therefore specifically states that we call upon our elected officials to demand that Hochul would call for the removal.
So you're not asking her to do it, you're asking our opinion.
Yes, we thought that it would be better to address this towards our elected officials to make it more relevant for our board rather than having the board try and reach out to the governor ourselves.
Yes, Valerie.
There's an or on this document, is that right? It says it's at the top. What does it say? I don't have it in front of me.
They should all remove.
Okay. And so who would actually do the resigning? Okay, and is it being sent to the mayor? It just wasn't clear. Asking.
See, to send it directly to the mayor, so we did not.
It just says resignation.
Right, we call upon our elected officials to demand the resignation of Mayor Adams. This is very addressed to our elected officials.
Yes, Susanna.
Hi, I have a question, which is, we're introducing this in business session where the public is not speaking about it, and the public has never seen this as an agenda item. So what you're proposing is that we make a very radical, I think this is a very radical resolution. And that we would be doing it without any public input. We're supposed to be representing our neighborhoods, our communities, and yet the community knows nothing about this, basically. So I guess what I'm wondering is, would it make more sense for this to go through some committee where we would be able to put it on the calendar with an agenda item so that people who are interested in this topic could come and discuss it?
Thank you. Arturo and I earnestly tried to navigate this unprecedented situation through the standardized means of our community board. There's no natural committee to hear this. So we brought it to the executive committee. There was some light discussion on this and other resolutions that fellow board members had around various actions that and resolutions they wanted to take. And so, you know, we attempted to get it in because most of this came to a forefront this past weekend. And, you know, for many of the actions available to us, we have about a month to do this. And I personally believe every single day that the mayor remains in office is a danger to our board. And so we attempted to give the community advance notice here at the public session. And also, I have to say, I think this is something the community is well informed about and has opinions on, and I think many of us talk to our community on, more so than many of the things that we put late on the agendas to many of our subcommittee meetings and to our full board meetings. I have voted in my 1 year on this board on at least 2 things that was put on the agenda last minute before full board and did not go through the subcommittee. So I think this is as appropriate as those things, at least.
Just as a follow-up, I feel for your situation. I understand all the, you know, you've been hobbled by it, but I feel very uncomfortable voting for something as bold as this and completely out of the ordinary without public input.
Okay, Valerie.
And I apologize if you covered this earlier, but has this changed from last night to incorporate what the governor said in the press conference today?
It has not been changed. I personally don't believe that the governor's comment has changed anything. If anything, it shows that more pressure might be needed to move her in the direction that the resolution believes it should.
Okay, I will call on Arturo, and then I see that Susan Wittenberg has her hand up, so I'll call you first, and then I'll go online, and then I'll go to David. And he needs a mic.
So just on the governor comment. So I think that we have a few thoughts on this because we did take this into consideration. Like everybody knows, there's been a lot of change happening in the last week. And just we want to, I think, re-emphasize that the stance, although reported in the news, is not final. You can look at congestion pricing, other situations where, you know, governors, politicians change their positions for whatever reason, including information that could still come from Judge Daleho's hearing. The other thing that I'd like to say is I think that resolution still stands very strong as an anti-corruption stance. So regardless of the route that the governor wants to take or that other officials want to take in the interim, I think it's very important for us to call out what's happening in New York City government and stand we're at the forefront and say, we do not accept this, that this is ridiculous and it should not be happening in government. And also by putting our backing of this, we're encouraging other forms of accountability. So whether it's the inability committee through the governor or other means by state lawmakers or through the courts, that we do not accept this in our community, that we do not accept this in state or city government.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go online. I saw Susan Wittenberg first, and then I will call on Ritu, and then I will call on Chenault. So Susan, go ahead.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I see Shirley too. I'll call afterwards. Go ahead. Go ahead, Susan.
Okay. I think that based on what Governor Hochul said today and everything the experts that we're reading are saying about the reality of her removing him from office is so remote that it seems for us to take this stand at this point, such a solid stand, seems misguided. I mean, I think clearly the mayor's days are numbered and everyone is involved is trying to figure out the right process to do that. And so I'm optimistic that that'll happen, but I don't see any value at this point in our taking a kind of fringe stand that she should remove him immediately from office. So I'm against our advocating that. And I also agree with Susanna that it seems that the community would need to weigh in if we were to do something so major. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Ritu.
So I support this effort. And given what Hochul said today at today's press conference, would it be appropriate to have it as, instead of a resolution, a letter to our council folks? Because she is asking for new legislation to put some guardrails on the mayor. And perhaps that is something to consider between now and our next meeting. Thanks.
Thank you. Chenault?
I feel like this is a resolution that is not appropriate because it doesn't peculiarly radiate from the community board or the community itself. We usually have some key locus, if you will, in the community for any resolution. It truly applies to everyone in the city and beyond, but it doesn't lodge itself logically here as a place to begin. Also feel like it's going to, because of the volatile situation, be a sort of grandstanding representation by the board. And that seems to be both unuseful and inappropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Shirley?
Yes, I certainly agree with the sentiments. I don't think this is the place it should come from. I suggest the borough board, which would be a much broader input.
She recommended the borough board take this up. Okay, I'm going to call on David Gruber because he had his hand up next, and then I will call on Keaton, and then I will call on. But he needs a microphone.
Gobbled. He's gobbled.
You're garbled.
Is that better?
Yes.
Let
That
me
mic
start.
is much better.
Start over, please.
Let me start over. I carefully read the proposed resolution. I agreed with many of the points. I thought it was well crafted. I think the two authors put a lot of work into it, and I congratulate them. I don't think the community board is the vehicle for this kind of action. I mean, years back, we used to take, rezos, which were wrong on some war that was in Europe or other community boards in Staten Island. But what I'm trying to say here is that the community board has a mission, and our mission is contained within the boundaries of unless it really, bleeds into from an company or a budding community board, the boundaries of our community board. I think that this is, as I said, I agree with the sentiments of it. I don't like the mayor. I think it's time for him to leave. Don't think that this is the vehicle and our mission on the community board to write a reso like this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to call on key people who have not yet spoken. So do you have a microphone? Can you bring that forward, please? It's right behind you.
This is online.
Okay. Well, I support this resolution and I believe that given the whole national and city situation, we better not say, oh, it doesn't look quite right. I think that is how we used to function, but now we cannot function that way. So we should pass this resolution. And some people are saying the community has not been consulted. Judson Memorial Church listserv is filled with exactly this kind of stuff. So our community, that part of the community, is very much consulted and on this idea.
Okay, I recognize Will first, and then I will come back to Rich, and then I'll come back to Valerie.
Thank you. So yeah, first of all, I just want to say, thanks to Eddie and Arturo for putting in the work on this. I think it's great it took a lot of work, obviously, and showed a lot of initiative. And I think all of us, or many of us in this room, agree with all the sentiments. I would maybe push back on the view that this is a radical stance. I mean, many of our own elected officials have already taken this stance. And so, many of our local officials have already taken this stance calling for Mayor Adams' resignation. So that is at least in line with that. I do think the impact of this does filter down to everything we do, especially when you have people resigning that are sort of in positions underneath the mayor and within the administration. The only thing I'm really uncomfortable with on my side is I do have a hard time getting comfortable with the barrier, and this is just a personal view, I think it's a very high barrier to circumvent the electoral process and remove someone who was elected. And so I'm trying to kind of wrap my head around that aspect of it, which to me, I think is a very high bar. But again, I thank you guys for putting this together.
Thank you. Rich?
Eddie, we've talked about this. Would you mind explaining from your perspective? I worry about the unintended consequences. And the word immediate is concerning to me. Can you explain what would happen if, in fact, the mayor were to resign or were pushed out before the 26th versus after the 26th?
So I will preface that by saying I reached out to the Conflict of Interest Board and Office of Legal Counsel before writing this resolution to see if it was okay for us to be considering it. And the one piece of advice they said was that to avoid, talking about upcoming elections. And so I want to be clear, everything I'm saying has nothing to do with the electoral pathways that happened upon his removal. And Rich, is your question, what happens if he is removed right now? What would happen if he was removed right now or he resigns today would be public advocate Giovanni Williams would become acting mayor, and a special election would be called at some period in the future that I am not quite sure the timeline on.
90 days?
90 days, something like that?
Yeah.
And that person would become temporary mayor to serve out the rest of that term, I believe. That's correct.
Yeah, that's correct.
And March 26th is the date at which, if the mayor office is vacant, then the public advocate would remain acting mayor through the current election cycle.
Valerie.
Yeah, I want to go back to what Ritu was saying earlier, because I think that's a really great point that she pulled out from the governor's press conference today about the change in state legislation regarding the powers of the New York City mayor. I think that feels like the work that we would want to put our laying behind us of those powers that the state would grant. So I'm really interested in that. I just wanted to point that out.
Okay,
Thank you. I want to express my support for this resolution. I think I've thought about it a lot since exec. I would have loved for the community to respond actively to this issue and this resolution and to see it and think about it and give us comment. But I think that the tentacles of these issues into our community feel so salient that this feels appropriate. And I think that we can both advocate for issues that are really on the ground, that, you know, some of which came up in exec, that immediately are going to surface through committee. And also, I think that we can make a broader statement. Most of what I'm hearing in the room is that there is general support for the sentiment. That is what I hear from the community. I agree with Will that this doesn't feel enormously radical given the conversation around it. So I think it's well done, but I also think that this is an exceptional moment, to Keen's point. And I think that we can both really ground up from the community and do this. I think the things we're going to see through committee, we're not going to see through until the end of March. And this is happening like right now. And so I am supportive of this. I'll leave it at that.
yes, Susanna.
With all the respect for the resolution, I'm trying to imagine we send this resolution and now my committee, while the mayor remains in office, my committee now needs to reach out to something that the mayor has influence over. And I need to have a meeting. And I'm being ignored because we are the community board that decided that we should go against the mayor. And I'm not sure how that serves our people. I feel like our responsibility is not to take a side in this fight. Let the fight happen. There are many other places that you can voice, the desire to see the mayor resign, but let that fight happen outside of this community board, where our responsibility is to the people that we serve in our districts. And we're going to need to cooperate with people to the extent that they're still around. And I feel that being the renegade community board who's rabble rousing and deciding to take a side in this fight is not helpful to what we do.
Okay, I'm going to recognize Ivy. I saw her hand up. Ivy, can you hear me?
Are you saying Ivy? Because I can't hear.
I'm sorry. Yes, your hand is up. You haven't spoken, so I want to go to you next.
Yeah. Okay, you're calling me. Yeah. I support the resolution, and I do admit I don't know like the layers of the rules and all that kind of stuff. I feel the mayor the mayor has not been working for us, has been working against us. I mean, very clearly, like even around the corner in the NYU clinic, they stopped serving people in the middle of this transgender fight. I mean, we are in the fight and the mayor's not here. The mayor's not in any level with the immigration thing. I think the upper government needs to hear from us. Whether it's a resolution, a letter is great. And I'm sorry to say that not every case we have 6 months to noodle around and go around the rules. So I commend the people that are in the fight. Sometimes we just don't have a whole year to chat about it. Thank you for the people who are working on this.
Thank you, Ivy. Okay, I've got more hands. Is anybody, okay, Zach hasn't spoken on it, so I'll go to him next, and then I will go back to Arturo. And we need a microphone. Take one.
Thank you. Really interesting conversation and perspectives I think that we're hearing, and I appreciate everyone sharing their views here. One thing that I just want to call to the forefront is that there is also a cost to inaction here. As Valerie mentioned, as I'd asked one of the elected earlier, the risk of having more state regulation and oversight imposed on New York City you know, there are good times when the mayor and the state get along. And if we go back to the previous administration, to the de Blasio Cuomo times, there are times when that extra state oversight in the city is extremely burdensome. We can't control traffic cameras. We can't control speed limits in the city, right? A lot of these things get pulled into the state level. And so there's a question of, if the mayor does not step down or resign or is removed, what that might mean longer term for our ability to conduct business, and the city department's ability to have autonomy over our streets, over our businesses. So again, not outputting a position, but do just want to bring that to the forefront that, you know, the Kathy Hochul making other choices beyond resigning, beyond forcing the mayor out, may be deleterious to the work that this community board does.
Thank you. Okay, I will go, let me call on Susan first, and then I will go to Arturo. I'm sorry.
One quick question, probably for you, Susan, and that is, you know, the one aspect that concerns me is the fact that the community has not had an opportunity to discuss this. I mean, I totally support the content of this resolution. I believe that these are extraordinary circumstances and they merit, you know, potentially outside the box kind of a response. But having said that, I just want to know from you, is there anything that prohibits the community board from passing a resolution, moving a resolution like this forward when it has not appeared before the public?
The short answer is no. It was presented as new business, and by its nature, new business is not something that was anticipated. It does not come through committee or other process. It is brought up because it is something that is literally usually of a timely nature. Now, many times what happens is that because people want further discussion on something, that someone will move to refer this to a particular committee. Right. The question is, where do you refer it? Because it doesn't really fit into any of the categories that we have currently identified. When this was, you know, it also did not come through executive because no member of the executive committee was prepared to present this to their committee. So the fact this is not improper. This is just unusual.
That's really my question. Thank you.
And because they did clear it, you know, in the sense of it doesn't run afoul of any laws. There's a difference between something being political and something having political implications.
Yeah, understood. Yeah, that's a great answer. Thanks. I appreciate your answer.
Okay. Arturo.
We're best within the time constraints to try to get it through the public process and to get it reviewed. This is the best that we could do to get it through the public. And so I just want people to know that we didn't try to nefariously hide it from, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying we really did want people. And I think, like a lot of people have already mentioned, close friends who live in the district, friends, Instagram, Facebook, all representatives, like left and right, top to bottom, people have called for his resignation. So I don't know what people's community partners or friends are saying. I can't speak on your behalf, but I certainly can say that the people that I've talked to are calling for his resignation based on his corruption. On the point of retaliation, because I think this was like one that really came up to a lot of people, and to me it was really concerning because what does it say about a mayor or a government where we're afraid to call him out for corruption for fear of retaliation? Is that not a reason for us to be demanding this even further? That the only way for City Hall and the mayor's office to function is through threats, coercion, and quid pro quo dealings. That is not a government that we should support. For most public services, that type of retaliation is grounds for a whistleblower investigation. If the mayor's office were to retaliate against CB2, it would further justify what we're doing here. Failing to condemn corruption is not neutrality, it's complicit in it.
Okay, I've got folks online. I see Ritu, and then I will call on
I be after her.
And I'm going to be very brief. I'd like to make a motion to bring this up next week at our Human Services Committee, so we can get some public input.
Yeah, first of all, we do have, I do want to call on anybody who has not yet spoken. That is actually a right that people have before we dispose of it in any way. Sorry, Janine.
So Susan, did you hear me?
I'm gonna come back to it because you're making a motion that would dispose of this and take it off the table. So that's why somebody who has not yet spoken.
Okay, I'm looking at the therefore be it resolves, and obviously we did not get clarity, yesterday at court. But basically, the first one basically says that the mayor is severely compromised. The second one mentions his inability to serve the city when half of the deputy mayors have pulled out. So perhaps throwing out a potential amendment that would say if whatever the wording is, if the lawsuit against the judge is the federal court case is dismissed, then call upon our elected officials. So forth. Then, sort of if the case is dismissed, then 3 and 4. Which is essentially, really, at this point, we're asking the mayor to resign. In a perfect world, if nothing had happened, this case would have gone forward and it would have litigated as all federal cases are. And it may or may not have impacted the primary, but it would have moved forward. People could choose to vote for him or not. So this kind of takes away the political side of it. It's asking to, obviously the president has taken away the process, but there's still a tiny sliver of hope that the case won't be dismissed. And that sort of leaves it a little bit more open. Does that make sense?
Okay, she has just made a motion to amend this resolution. First of all, do I have a second on the motion? So we can discuss that. Like, do you need anyone need clarification on what the amendment is?
So 3 would start with, and I'm gonna, it could be tweaked word wise, but the gist of it is if Judge Ho dismisses the corruption case against Mayor Adams, then CB2 calls upon ... and it calls upon elected officials and then merge 3 and 4 together.
Does everyone understand what that amendment is? Okay, do I have a second on that?
No, we can't understand on the Zoom.
No, didn't hear it.
Janine, can you come to the front, Mike?
Yeah, whatever, I caught parts of it, but it's very difficult to understand that mic.
Yeah, the front mic is the only one that we can hear.
I thought I was using a good mic. Can you hear me now?
No.
No.
Talking.
How about now?
That's better.
A little better.
Okay, so this would simplify, right now we have 4, therefore be it resolves. And this would combine 3 and 4 and open it with, if Judge Ho dismisses the corruption case against Mayor Adams, then CB2 calls upon ... the rest of 3, and I guess that would be what it is. I guess we wouldn't change 4 at all, because that's if he refuses to resign. But this adds the court process in here, which I think is an important process, which has been circumvented. And I think that's why so many people resigned, and that's why we're talking about this now.
Okay, does everyone understand what that amendment was? Okay, yes, Creek.
Just a question. So essentially you're saying My understanding, is this correct, Janine, that you are saying we passed this resolution just as it is with that one change, which essentially says the point of it is we want to let open the possibility that the judge will do the right thing, right? Is that right?
Yeah, that is.
Okay, I need I need questions that of technical nature before, otherwise I need a second before this can be discussed substantively.
Well, I will second it.
Okay,
I wanted to make sure my understanding was correct.
yeah,
And it is.
okay, you're seconding this.
I'm seconding.
Okay, we need further discussion on this. Yes, okay, Rich and then Arturo.
Spoken to the elected official. Often elected official will come to us and ask us to consider this. In this case, I'm wondering if you've spoken to Eric or. Right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Have we spoken with any elected officials? The answer is no. I think this is the communication I want to have to our elected officials. But no, I have not talked with anybody.
Let me go to Valerie and then I'll go back to you, Arturo.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, Chair Kent, if she could, board this morning, board President Mark Levine, was asked about this. So could you, tell everyone what he had said?
As I recall, when he was asked, he did not want to make a statement that he deemed political. He said, but he was saying that we need an effective government, one that is focused on the work. One government that is not of questionable nature. I am paraphrasing, of course, but he did not want to come out and take a position on whether or not the mayor should resign or should be process should be instituted to remove him. Okay, and I will go to Arturo and then I will go to Lois.
So for super understanding of the court process, and I think what we're all kind of reacting to is the fact that that's been taken away from us. The only concern with that amendment that I have is that these charges were dismissed from my understanding with prejudice, which means that whatever happens, whether they're dismissed or whether the court case continues, there's still a lot of limbo and uncertainty into what will actually happen. So it could in the future, if the cases are dismissed, that's still something that the Department of Justice can hold over Mayor Adams's head. And if the court case continues, we're also kind of in the same place, we're just waiting. So I think this resolution does incorporate that fact that we don't know what's going to happen with that. We're making this resolution based on all the information that we have so far, which is 7+ Department of Justice and Southern District of New York top prosecutors, assistant U.S. attorneys saying that they're not going to be a part of dismissing these charges, or deputy mayors saying they're not going to be a part of this administration because of what they're doing, or the events that have led up to here. So very respectfully, that's why I would just say I don't think that amendment is necessary, even though I completely agree with the spirit of, respecting the justice system.
Okay.
Yes, Lois.
And speaking on the amendment, what would be the timeline? We need a timeline that we'd have to accept the resolution. What's the timeline?
I'm sorry.
The amendment says to based on the time of what the justice says, we
would have to, based on the amendment, as I understand it, what would happen is that you would wait to see what the judge's decision is, the ruling, which is expected shortly. I don't know exactly.
Okay, so what shortly? Tonight, tomorrow, next week?
In the next few days.
Okay. Okay.
I assume so. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes. We'll have to vote on the amendment, and then we will go back and whether or not it is an amended resolution or not. Is somebody online? I'm sorry, I see a hand up.
We're asking for copies of the reso on Zoom.
Oh, I'm sorry. This was emailed to you? Everyone? I'm sorry? Oh, okay, it was mailed last night? At 6 p.m.? Oh, 10:15, okay.
You can put on the chat. It's 11 o'clock at night.
We sent it out so that people would have a chance to consider it, so that we'll have a discussion on the merits and not people asking, what am I talking about? Okay. I'm sorry, I see hands up online. Ivy?
Me?
If you answer to Ivy, yes, your hand is up.
No, I just can't hear. I actually can't hear what you're saying. I wanted to comment, like, a lot of, like, when we say people don't come to CB2 and we don't have representation, I mean, part of it is like the space is not accessible to people. But at this moment, what I wanted to ask is the second person that the person that brought this resolution, I forgot his name because the one that was standing. I want to know what he thinks about what Janine has proposed. Because there's Arturo and the person that just read the whole resolution. Yeah, you. I'm sorry, I didn't know what your name is. So.
Just commented on that.
Yeah, him.
It's not for him to accept or not. It's a question of if it is an amendment, if the second one, we have to discuss it, then vote on it, and then we go back to what we then have. Go ahead, Ed.
I think I've yet. So, I think it's fine. I'm not sure. I don't believe it affects the resolution that much either way. If it gets, which I sort of expect it will, and it seems like the film suggests it will, I'm fine. If not, I think the point still stands as documented opposition to the obvious corruption and quid pro quo of his actions. I don't care either way.
So you're saying you're fine?
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I don't
think
it's a big deal.
Richard, is your hand up?
Oh, sorry.
That's quite all right. Okay, I don't see any more hands up, so I'd like to vote on this amendment. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, any abstentions?
Can you repeat can you repeat it before we vote? You went kind of fast.
What you're voting on is, right now, if she can't hear me, somebody will have to repeat this for me. What we're voting on is the amendment that was proposed by Janine. And that if you're yes in favor, no, if you're not, and if you want to, you may abstain.
And if okay, Janine is saying wait until the judge makes a decision. Is that correct?
That's the thrust of it, is that we want to wait and see whether or not the federal, whether or not the judge dismisses it as it was requested by the DOJ.
My question is, Susan, is this what we're voting on now?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the amendment.
We're voting on Janine's amendment.
Okay. Okay. It's okay. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. And then let me see who's opposed.
Those who oppose, I oppose.
Okay. We're gonna need a.
Oppose, Susan.
I oppose.
Okay. Let's take those down first. And then we'll need the abstentions. Wait, let's just get this down so we have a clear. Just read out the no's. We'll read out the no's and then we'll read out the abstentions.
Okay, so notes are back and that Dr. Scarlett's missed did not master, but abstention, please raise your hand and come on for a moment.
Sorry, what was that?
I can't understand what was the last
No,
part.
I didn't
of what
hear it
you
either.
said.
He's asking for
we can't
abstentions
hear.
now on the amendment.
We're voting on the amendment.
On Janine's amendment, she's asking for those who abstain.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Katie, is your hand up? Are you abstaining?
No, I'll support it. Okay.
And Eugene's abstaining.
Thank you. Okay, she has, let her read out the names so we get them correct.
Yeah, so no's. Thank you. No again, Zachary Gonzalez, Dr. Shirley Smith, Matthew Metzger, abstains, Suzanne Allen, Carter Ruth, Valerie Delisa, Donna Leftoy, and Eugene Wu.
And me.
Sorry, could I change my vote to yes on the amendment? Sorry.
And
Eugene is voting yes.
On
Eugene
the
is voting
amendment.
yes.
Okay.
Can this be sent in the text as well? I'm so sorry. It's just,
It's just very difficult to
we
follow what's going
cannot
on in the
hear.
room.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. This is gonna take me a second to compile. One moment, please. I got it. Thank you. No. We'll do that. Thank you. I appreciate it. She's fine. Thank you. No, you're good. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mark. All right. I think it passes. But I'm gonna have to put this in there for everybody.
In that?
Yeah, that's what I do so far. Wait one sec. I'm doing a double, but that's what I have so far. Okay. I'm such a good one. Thanks for your patience. Man, oh man.
Actually, she's on.
Why we have Brian here?
5.5.
Man, oh man. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 34. 4 no, I'm missing one. But then we'll be ready. Is that what you have, Brian? 7 abstains. 7 abstains. 4 no. Oh, can you hit me with the 8? I have 7 abstains.
So we should look at it. It sounds like it. Okay, the amendment passed. So now we have an amended resolution. Is there further discussion on this resolution? Yes, Carter, who has not spoken yet. And then needs a microphone, please.
We don't know where.
Is this, can people hear me online? I don't, yes, okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I would encourage people to vote to abstain on this, and the main reason is, and there's a lot of work went into this, is I would encourage you to abstain, Keen, because this does not do one thing, and that's what everybody's talking about, which is asking the mayor to resign. We're not sending it to him. So I trust our local elected officials. I voted for all of them, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. And I trust them to make the hard decisions when the time comes for them to do that. I think that distracting them by constantly asking them about this now takes them away from doing the business that we want them to do. And having them bogged down in this discussion every single time they go to anybody is really not what I want our local elected officials to be doing right now. I trust all of them to make the right decisions. That's why we've elected them. I think that some of this is also a touch of buyer's remorse. There were many discussions about the mayor during the election that there would be issues. Many of the charges he had stemmed from actions before he was mayor. I think that by doing this, we actually take away from people concentrating on what we have in front of us in the next number of months, which is learning the most that we can about the candidates who are running. And I think this is a huge distraction in that effort. And I think that the governor is already making the difficult decisions on what is realistic, on what she can do, what she can't do, the amount of time that it takes, the resources that it would take, and the likelihood of a outcome that would for the effort engaged would actually achieve the result that she wants. You know, ultimately, if the mayor chooses to resign, that's up to him. He's made clear what his statements are, and you know, the governor can go forward from that. And I'm also always very concerned that we had a properly elected official. All elected officials are beholden to others. We may or may not like who they're beholden to through a process, but they're always beholden to somebody else because they're elected officials. But I think that because this resolution does not address to the mayor, I mean, I think that's just fatal flaw, and I would encourage people to abstain. Thank you.
Okay. I am good. Okay, I'm gonna call on more people. I just want to point out it is 9:25. Okay, I will go to Keen and then I'll go to Will. A microphone, a microphone.
To say we trust our officials and therefore we shouldn't opine on this seems to me unrealistic, given what the crisis is right now with our city and our mayor. It seems to me this is the time when we as a community board need to speak for our community as best we see it. And that is why I'm very strongly supporting this resolution.
I said I was gonna call on Will next.
Thanks. I just want to go back to something that I mentioned when I spoke earlier on this. And, you know, again, I'm the fourth part of the resolution, which the fourth, therefore, which might be now merged into three, still makes me a bit uncomfortable. Not many people have talked about it. I think Carter touched on it a little bit. I still find it a little bit uncomfortable to, I'm totally on board with putting pressure on him to resign and all of that. I'm still finding it a little bit uncomfortable saying that we support essentially going through an undemocratic process, which is legal. It's laid out in the law, but it's undemocratic of removing someone. And so I don't know. I'm curious. I don't necessarily want to propose. I don't want to water something down that people don't want watered down. So I'm just curious to hear if anyone else has a view on that.
John, well, it's not yet spoken.
I agree with Will. I really admire this resolution. I mean, it's an amazing amount of work, but I'm really uncomfortable with number 4. I would like him to resign, call on him to resign, but to ask, and it's also, you know, we know that Kathy Hochul has made the decision not to do this. So without number 4, I could proceed with this resolution.
Okay. Frederica? Okay, I have a motion. Does anybody that has not spoken? I can't call the question unless if there's somebody who has not yet spoken on it. I can't see anyone.
Can we call up for that amendment to take out number 4?
Katie did not speak on this, so I'm going to let her speak on this.
Am I heard?
She has called a question. I have something else.
Can you hear me?
Well, hold on a second. I misunderstood what the motion was.
Yes, so I would make a motion to remove number 4.
Okay, do I have a second for that motion? Okay. Does anyone want to discuss the removal of number 4?
Yes,
Yes, go ahead.
sorry, is this the graded
Is this, did this get blended or is, okay, I was just, okay, got it.
3 and 4 are separate the way they were in the original version. Okay, and it's seconded. Anyone want to comment on this? Okay, so let's vote on the resolution to remove number 4. All those in favor? Opposed? Not very. And abstentions? We've got, oh, okay. We're gonna have to do a count since it's not clear. I've got to wait for this. Well, okay, we can do a roll call vote. Fine, let's do a roll call vote.
Yes, to remove number 4.
This is a roll call just on
because
the amendment to remove number 4, by the way.
All right. So. Well. I'm just gonna go first names, okay. Kim? Carter? Katie?
Emma, can you use a better mic?
Yeah, does it work if I do that?
I don't,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can
Yeah,
hard,
if
I
you
haven't
hold
been
it
able
away
to
from
hear
your
the roll
mouth, it's
call all
better, Emma.
evening.
I
Clearly.
couldn't understand that. Is that better?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Katie?
Bordenaro?
Katie, do you have your
Katie
vote on-
Bordenaro.
I have no opinion. I have no opinion on this.
That will represent an abstention.
Anita?
Abstained.
Okay. Rich? Rachel?
No.
No. Valerie?
Abstain.
Arturo? Mar?
No.
Susan Gami, excuse me. Yes. David Gruber. See. Juliet. Zach. Susan Ken.
Again, I can't hear.
I know you can't hear.
Yeah.
Nobody on Zoom can hear.
Is it possible to have the mic a little further?
Yeah. I'll give it.
Sorry. Thank you.
Thanks, folks.
Okay, this is resolution, so we just need to know if there passes or not. Let's please move forward. So please continue.
Susan Ken.
Abstain.
Thank you. Janine. Ivy.
No.
Trisha. Janet. Ben. Edma. Slane. Okay. Matt.
I'm a yes.
Edma,
abstain.
Thanks, Ed. Gotcha. Erica. Brian. Sarah. Lois. Shirley.
One.
Miss Shirley.
Can you say that again?
Secunda?
I abstain.
Okay. Abstain. Thank you. Eddie?
Yep.
Frederica? Emma? No. Dr. Smith?
Abstain. Thank you.
Dr. Smith, abstain.
Yes, so abstain.
Anthony? Oh, wait, Susan Wittenberg.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Eugene?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Okay, the total is 5 yeses, 13 noes, 18 abstains. This does not pass.
Okay, it does not pass. So we're back to the resolution as amended by the first amendment that did pass. Is there any additional discussion? I'm sorry, Katie has not spoken. I can't call the question until somebody who has not spoken has a chance to do so. That's how our bylaws work. Yes, Katie.
Thank you. And you can hear me? Yes, I think you
Yes,
can.
yes.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a long discussion. I think it's an essential discussion, and like many people, I appreciate the work in the resolution. I agree. We're at a terrible crisis in our country. I haven't really heard anyone tonight say that we're not, but I am going to abstain from this resolution. I agree with Carter's reasoning, but I hope that we will discuss this more. And there'll be more opportunities to discuss this issue next month. I'm glad Susanna wants to bring it to her committee. There are other specific things that specific impacts of what's going on in Washington that aren't included here that we need to work on because they're very negative in our community. So I'm going to abstain, not because I disagree that we're at a terrible point, but I'm not convinced this is what to do at this moment. And I do thank the authors for their thoughtfulness.
Okay, thank you, Katie. Okay, I'm now going to go back to, we had a motion on the floor to call the question. Is there a second for that motion? Okay, I'm sorry, is there somebody, okay, somebody needs to be muted online. Okay, I'm sorry. To call the question requires a 2/3 vote, just so you know. Well, no, you can call the question even if people haven't done speaking, as long as somebody who has not yet spoken has had that opportunity. Okay, well then, okay, if there's nobody else who wishes to speak, I will ask that that motion be withdrawn, and then we can get to a final vote. So is that motion withdrawn to call the question? Okay, so if there's no further discussion, we will take, this is our last item, so we're going to do a roll call vote on this. Okay.
On what? It's a lot of back and forth and I can hardly hear. What are we voting on now, Susan?
We are voting on the resolution.
Susan, what are we voting on?
Okay, okay, we are voting on the resolution as amended by Janine's amendment that was passed.
Thank you.
Okay, the first amendment passed, the second one did not. Do you want to? Okay. This written thing plus the addition about waiting to see whether or not the case is dismissed. Okay. Okay, let's go to a roll call vote. Okay, let's go very faster. Susanna Aaron. Will Bash. Kim Bitter. Carter Booth. Katie Bernard. Okay, I know, but we gotta.
Abstain.
Okay.
Abstain.
Jesus.
I'm sorry. Linda Grant. Rich Cocapero. Rachel Chaudhry.
Yes.
Aaron Van Ruther.
Abstain.
Mary Fernandez.
Yes.
Mary Fitzgerald.
Abstain.
Susan Bennett. David Berger. Juliette Kay. Zachary Cazares. Susan Kemp. Abstain. Janine Carney. Ivy Cornelius.
I actually don't understand what's going on. I'm sorry. I
No,
completely
that's-
understand the audio. I don't know.
That's
Maybe
okay.
You vote yes on the resolution.
No, but there was two parts that were changed, right? The part that
The second
Janine-
part, what was not changed, only Janine's resolution to wait for Judge Ho's decision.
Okay, so that's what we're voting on Janine's.
No, we're voting on the whole resolution with Janine's amendment.
Okay, yes.
Yes, Don Sardi. Trisha Shalaria. Janet Wolf. Benjamin Eastman. Ed Ma.
Ed,
Yes.
Matt Metzger.
Yes.
Erica Olson. Ryan Pape. John Raftery. Lois Rakoff. Okay. Shirley Sakota.
Abstain.
Edward Siegel. Frederica Siegel. Anna Smith, yes. Dr. Shirley Smith.
abstain.
Charlotte Spence. Charlotte Tristan. Okay, I don't think so. Susan Wittenberg. Susan Wittenberg.
Abstain.
Thank you. Anthony Wong. Eugene Young.
Abstain, but I want to give thanks to Eddie and Arturo for bringing the resolution up.
Okay, the yeses are 17, the noes are 3, the abstains are 15. This does not pass.
Okay.
It's not passed. Very close.
Because of all the abstentions. Okay. Is there any additional new business?
Seeing motion to adjourn. There's no objection, we are adjourned.